What's up guys, Tommy here, bringing you an RU battle against a guy called Furfur111, and I'll leave his channel in the video description if you want to go check him out. So he leads off with a Primeape, and I figure this thing, I always assume whenever I see a Primeape that it's going to be either Choice Scarfed or Choice Banded. And he goes straight for a U-turn here just to kind of scout me out a little bit. I decide to stay in kind of predicting the U-turn, but not entirely sure what he's going to do because I don't really see all that many Primeapes. I go straight for a Flamethrower just because I was tempted, I was that close to clicking the Thunderbolt button. But I knew he had a Sand Slash on his team to probably take it, so I just went straight for the Flamethrower on whatever came in. It would do reasonable damage to anything, because this thing is specs. And I get a Flamethrower off in the Sand Slash, get it burned, which is nice. Bit unfortunate for him, but because this Sand Slash is now pretty much crippled, I figure I'll probably set up some Stealth Rocks, so I just go straight into my Superior just for a chance to set up my own stuff. I don't have Stealth Rocks in this team, actually, but I do have Substitute on this guy, and Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and Glare, so he's just a general kind of Annoyer setting up kind of Pokemon. I like the design of it as well. It's like a grass snake thing with like weird leafy horns on top, and I was actually surprised to find out that he was in the RU tier because he's pretty damn good. So I go straight for a sub here. He goes for Night Slash. Doesn't take me out because of the burn. Gets his leftovers there, and I think he goes straight for a Giga Drain just to finish him off. Now I know that since I'm behind the sub, I'm pretty much safe from anything, so whatever he brings in, I can cripple it with a Glare. And this is what I love about the RU tier. You see stuff in this that you would never be able to predict. Like, how many people, if you saw a Superior, would you predict that he's going to use Glare on you? It's one of those things that it's just kind of not used all that often, so it's really hard to kind of predict, and it's easy to surprise people when you're using it, so that's the reason I love playing in the RU tier. He goes for an Ice Punch, obviously going to take me out, because that Primeape is an absolute monster of a Pokemon. I go for a Glare just to cripple this thing. If it is Choice Scarf, then that is extra good for me. If he's Choice Banded, then yeah, great, still pretty crippled. Go for a sub just to see what he's going to do, and since he goes for another Ice Punch and not a U-turn, I kind of assume he's Choice in some way. I was still kind of debating it in my mind at this point, but he goes for another Ice Punch, so I think, okay, he's probably Choice, so I'm going to go into Lapras, assuming that, to quad resist the Ice Punch, and then set up a couple of Dragon Dances. This Lapras was kind of a last-minute addition to the team. Didn't think it out all that well, and I've since replaced him, but this Lapras you'll see is actually the star player of this game, and you'll see that come into play later, but I go for Dragon Dance and the switch just to kind of see what he's going to do. He goes into Lantern, and this was what I was really fearing. If there's three Pokemon which I absolutely fear whenever I play the RU tier, it's Cresselia, Medicham, and Lantern. And oh god, this Lantern gave me some trouble. I always predict Lanterns to be the really defensive, bulky variants with stuff like Heal Bell and Toxic and Scald and something else along those lines. I don't know, but he actually goes for an Agility here, and that kind of surprised me. This Lantern happens to be running Agility, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, and Thunderbolt. And this was a big threat to my team. I didn't realize it at the time because I had my Gardevoir here to scare him out with a special wall, but I actually lose my Gardevoir in a bit, and you'll see that comes into play and how that Lantern poses a big threat to my team. But I know he'll switch out here, so I go straight for a Psychic, and he brings in the Galvantula, which is good because I know I can take a Bug Buzz from this thing given it's so specially bulky. And why the name Cassandra, you ask? Well, I actually picked it just because I like the name Cassandra. I think it's a very nice name. If I ever had kids, I will call one of them Cassandra. Unless it's a boy, that would probably be a bit weird. Mentally scar that kid for life, but I think Cassandra is a nice name. But actually, Cassandra is the name of a woman from Greek mythology, I think, who predicts the future and stuff, so that was kind of an accidental good nickname there, but whatever. He brings in his own Gardevoir, and he traces my Synchronize there. I actually think I should have Trace on this guy, because Trace can be a really useful ability against stuff like Levitators or stuff that has Lightning Rod like my Manectric, but it kills me off with a Shadow Ball here, and I'm guessing this is a more offensive Gardevoir. Mine is purely defensive, and its only attacking move is Psychic, but he just finished me off with a Shadow Ball here. I bring in Manectric here to scare him off, because I know Gardevoir is not very fast at all. I go straight for a Signal Beam. I didn't want to go for Thunderbolt just because, well, I guess Signal Beam would have done more damage to anyway, but I go for a Signal Beam thinking it'll probably bring in the Lantern, and I want to get some decent damage on that guy, so get about, what is that, like a third health on that guy? Lantern is pretty damn bulky. And I make a big mistake here by going into my Superior. In all honesty, I didn't have too much to do to this thing anyway, but I go into Superior here, thinking that he doesn't have the Ice Beam, because I completely forgot that Lantern learns Ice Beam. It kills me off with it, obviously. Superior is definitely not going to take that, despite being pretty bulky. Kills me off with an Ice Beam, and now this thing has +2 speed. He has Ice Beam, Life Orb, Hydro Pump, and Thunderbolt, and I am completely screwed at this point, unless I can win a Prediction War. This is the key move of the game. I go into Rapidash, I bait him into go for the Hydro Pump just so I can get into my Lapras and get the Water Absorb off. Because I know after Stealth Rocks I'll be down to like half health. He does go for the Hydro Pump, luckily. I get my Water Absorb. Now Water Absorb only heals up to a quarter of your health at a time. So I have to rely on him going for another Hydro Pump here, and he does. And that actually kind of surprised me, but he said he was predicting me to switch out to Rapidash again or something, so that pretty much saved me at this point, because otherwise that Lantern could have outsped the rest of my team and swept me pretty much. Well, I guess unless he went for Hydro Pump and missed, but who knows. Goes for a Thunderbolt here. I think he nearly kills off my Lapras here, and I live with a tiny sliver of health. It's lucky I did get those Water Absorbs, otherwise there's no way I would have lived this attack. Get a lot of damage on him with the Zen Headbutt there, well, some reasonable damage. Finish him off with the Waterfall just because I know he'll kill him at that point. And, you know, anything he brings in Waterfall will do decent damage as well if he decides to switch out. But it's a double down here since I have the Life Orb Recall, and Lapras actually, you did a good job, Lapras, I gotta hand it to you. Lapras is one of my all-time favourite Pokemon from the first generation, and it kind of served me well here as well. And I bring in Shrew here, and I really didn't know what he wanted to do at this point. I know he has Shadow Ball and Psychic, but I didn't know what his other two moves were. Well, at least I didn't at the time. I guess I may have missed them or something, but he goes straight for a Trick, tricks me with Choice Specs. I'm not really too bothered because I actually locked myself into Earthquake here. And Earthquake could do some pretty nice damage to Gardevoir, given that its physical defense really isn't that great. So now that I've got these Choice Specs, I figure, may as well just leave it in and keep attacking for as long as I possibly can, since Sandslash doesn't really have too much use to me at this point. I guess I could have spun away the rocks, but it wouldn't have had much of an impact on the game in all honesty, so I kill off his Gardevoir with an Earthquake, which is nice. The Sandslash actually did quite a bit of work in this game, which is surprising because he's only really there as a physical wall. He's got Rapid Spin, Toxic, Earthquake, and Knockoff, so really not meant for doing all that much damage, but Sandslash has surprisingly impressive attack stat, and he's got the stab from the Earthquake as well, which is always nice. Get the Power Hacks there on the Primeape, which is a little bit unfortunate for him, so I managed to finish him off with an Earthquake here. Now he brings in Flareon. Now we were both surprised at this next move because I actually outspeed this Flareon and nearly kill him off with an Earthquake. But I'm not too sure about this, but I think Flareon and Sandslash actually have the exact same base speed stat, and neither of us have any investment in speed, so I get him off an Earthquake on him, nearly finishes him off, which is nice. That was nearly 3 kills by Sandslash, which would have been pretty amazing, but he kills me off with a Flamethrower there. I was actually pretty surprised at this point because for whatever reason I thought he had 2 Pokemon left after this, but all he has left is his Flareon with a tiny bit of health left. I go straight to Rapidash. I'm not going to mess around with the accuracy of Mega Horn or anything. Just going to go straight for the Wild Charge. He protects just to preserve his Flareon for 1 turn longer. And that will be the end of the game. So thank you very much for the game, Furfur111. It was a great game, and I really thought that Lantern was going to completely sweep me there, but I got a bit lucky with the predictions. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.